G'day. So the DLC for Callisto Protocol is out finally, final transmission, and it is a doozy of a DLC. It is essentially the final act of the game, which should have been included in the base game. It's just an hour and a half of combat, followed by a 3-minute cutscene to end this entire game. And that's it. That's all it is. And look, I'm not one to tell somebody what to do with their money, but I would really, really encourage anyone to not spend a dime on this DLC because it is a joke what they've done here. So to quickly summarize the ending for those who may be forgotten or weren't aware, you get Danny off the prison into an escape pod, and she has all this evidence to expose the Black Rock or whatever the name of the place is. I'm not going to bother looking it up. And she gets out. And Jacob, the main character, comes to terms with the fact that he belongs in this prison, and he's essentially accepted the fact that he's going to die there because of his actions. So, cool, whatever. He gets a last minute transmission from the main doctor who says there might be a way off. You get hit with this random jump scare from the main antagonist. And just to go on a tangent for a sec, that alone is so just fitting with the rest of the game. It was full of these lazy jump scares, just one after the other. It would not stop, and it wasn't even scary. And it even had weird things, like it would play this loud music stinger, and I don't know, maybe the scripting was off or something, but the enemy that was supposed to be there with a music stinger wouldn't even be in the room with you. That, like, I remember walking out of a door at one stage, I got hit with the music stinger, and I kept walking and looking around, and after a couple of seconds I looked up and saw a monster in a tree, and didn't even jump out. I just saw it and it scurried away. So yeah, anyway, then you get to the end of the game and they hit you with another bloody jump scare, and it's just... Anyway, that's enough of that. So you get hit with the jump scare, the credits roll. The game was very clearly unfinished. And spoiler alert, just in case it wasn't already clear, you play the DLC, you wake up in some random area that you weren't in before the end of the main game's ending, and you essentially just fight enemies for an hour and a half. You get to the end of the game, and you find out that Jacob's been dreaming the entire DLC sequence, and that the end of the base game, he was actually attacked by someone or a horde of these biophages, and he's been in this dying dream state the whole time. And all that happens is the doctor then uploads the information that he still had because of his link to Danny's memory core thing, and she uploads the data. Jacob dies, she dies in the collapse, and that is it. That entire sequence could have just been in the base game. It could have just been an extra 45 minutes of some sort of gauntlet where you're fighting more enemies, and then you get that last 3-minute cutscene. There was no reason for this to be an entire story DLC, and it's very insulting that the devs who, you know, essentially are ex-devs that worked on Dead Space, and the game is advertised as being a bit of a successor to the Dead Space series, and the game they seemed to take the most from was fucking Dead Space 3, the worst of the series. And I remember speculating, are they really going to go so far to imitate Dead Space 3 that they're going to sell us the ending as DLC down the road? And fuck, here we are later, and they've done exactly that. They have literally sold us a full price game. I paid 90 Australian dollars for the game, didn't like it, found it to be average at best, and now they expect me to pay 20 odd dollars for the final cutscene of the game. I'm expected to pay essentially nearly a quarter of the price of the entire base game for the final cutscene. That's all it is. You have to pay 20 whole dollars to see the ending. And when I say you have to, obviously you can just look up the story like I did, or I also watched a YouTube playthrough of it, which it was an 1.5-hour video. There's nothing in it. And the fact that they even put the biophage robots in there, those should have been part of the base game as well, because the robots that you can fight in the base game just died of 4 pistol shots to the head. Fucking joke of an enemy. And that to me is just downright scummy. And I can sympathize with the devs who likely won't get to make a sequel to the game. And there was a bit of an interesting world that they built and everything. It was just not written very well, not designed very well, full of bugs in so many different ways. But, you know, visually it looked incredible. Absolutely give it to everyone involved in making the visuals what they are. They fucking nailed their job. Absolutely. But I just want to express that, again, this should have been in the main game. This is not DLC worthy. There are so many games that do DLC properly, and not even just story DLC. There are a lot of games that just do extra content in general really well. So I could never recommend this DLC. I wouldn't recommend the Callisto Protocol as a game to someone. Maybe check it out when it's like $15 or something, or $20 at most. But the DLC, absolutely not. I would, even on sale for like a couple of dollars, just the principle that they were willing to sell this separately is enough for me to tell people, no, never ever purchase it. Please, for love of God, have some, you know, decency about yourself. But anyway, I just wanted to rant about that because saw it coming from a mile away. Still disappointed that it happened, and I just wanted to rant about it in a video. So till the next video, have a good one.